G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just going to show you briefly how I went about making this pretty cool root over rock ficus, and you can have a go at it at home yourself. It's pretty simple. Alright, so all we need is our little ficus, a rock to train it over, a pot that's big enough to completely put this rock under the ground level. That's pretty important to start with. And we've just got a standard potting mix that we're going to use. A little bit of wire just in case we need to tie the tree in position. We don't usually at this point. And a pair of pliers for cutting wires. And we don't really need a lot else. It's pretty simple, and these ficuses are pretty tough. I mean, you can be pretty ruthless with them and they'll bounce back. Just try not to let the roots dry out too much. I've got some potting mix behind the camera there. There's no need to really see that. But all I'm going to do is put a little bit in the bottom of the pot, just so that when the rock goes in, it's sort of going to be just below soil level. Just gives it something to be a little bit stable on. And we're just going to take our ficus, knock it out of the pot. It's got a pretty good root system. Another good thing with ficuses too is they grow really well from cuttings. I bought one plant, which was this one here, and every time I prune it, I just stick all the prunings in a pot, put it somewhere where it gets watered regularly, and now I've got these things coming out of my ears. So you can have a ready supply. So, you know, it doesn't matter if you take a few risks, really. If you lose a couple of plants, well, you've always got plenty more. So I'll just use a chopstick. Get that out of the road. I'll just use a chopstick just to try and gently tease the dirt out from around the roots. You don't want to do any more damage than you have to, despite the fact that they are tough. And we'll just try and tease these roots out and get all the soil out from around the roots so we can see what we're working with. I've got a lot of feeder roots up top here, which is good. All coming out from the center of the trunk, which means that I could confidently get rid of this part that's underground. This is probably part of the original branch when it was taken as a cutting. But if we keep that, we won't be able to put it right on top of the rock. But it doesn't hurt to just have a look and see to make sure there isn't a fair bit of trunk flare or something down low. You might be able to trim these roots off and use the lower ones. Which there is a bit of trunk flare down there by the look of it. Hard one to gauge because there is a fair sort of a scar down there as well. I don't know if you can see there's a fair scar down there, probably from where the cutting was taken. So myself, I think I'm going to cut it off below these initial feeder roots up here, and that will be the part that sits on top of the rock. And from there, it's really just a matter of working out where you want the rock and the plant, and just plant it back into your pot. Cover everything, cover the dirt all the way back up to the top, and then just leave it. And this thing will just fill the pot with roots again, and then we can revisit it. And this one here, I've already started this one going over a small rock, and we'll pull that out of the pot in a moment. But I will take this off camera again for a second, and I'll just fill him up with potting mix and get him back in the moist soil. So we've covered that back up to where the dirt was originally. So all those roots are covered again. So we'll go and put him in a shady, semi-shaded spot where he gets a bit of morning sun. Give him a good feed, give him a good water, and he'll start sending new roots out. And give it a couple of months. We were sort of starting to come into winter now, so we'll probably leave it until spring, and we'll probably pull him out again and we'll have a look at the roots. But this one was started a while ago, and all I do, never mind the weeds, it was originally, the dirt level would have originally been back up here, and then every couple of months I'll just pull it out, take a little bit of dirt away, repot it back up. And we do the same thing again today. We'll go down another 4 or 5 centimeters, a couple inches, and just expose some more of those roots. And it'll continue to make new roots further down, because when you repot it, even in the same size pot, you'll just lift it up that little bit and it'll grab more roots down low, and these roots above the ground level will slowly harden. And if the roots are too thin and there's too many of them, you just start taking a couple out. One here, one there, every time you go to repot, or you can even revisit it like once a month and just prune out a root here or there and just thin out the number, and that'll give you thicker roots. Like this one here only has pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 main roots going down, and they're quite thick because that's all it has is the 6, and then that'll turn into all feeder roots once it goes under the soil level. So to thicken them up, you can either just make the tree on top bigger, which will require more transfer of water and nutrients from down below up, so the roots need to be thicker, or you thin out the number of roots, which will make each individual root thicker. You can see once you get under the soil level, there's a lot more fine feeder roots, which eventually we don't want. You just want those few thick ones growing over the root. Doesn't matter if you get the dirt out perfectly, because you're going to be watering this thing and the water will wash the soil out. The important thing is to just get that little bit more above ground level, so they can start hardening off, and then you can start selecting which roots you want to keep. I mean, if I wanted a root over here, I could try and tease this root out, because there's a lot of feeder roots here, and I may even do that. Try and tease the root out a bit, if you can find where he goes, and then I could bring it around to where I want it. Even if I have to tie it in position, or just when I repot it, I'll bring the soil up so it holds it there and hope that that continues to grow, and then we can establish a root there where we want it. It's really not a lot different to wiring branches above the soil. It's all very, very similar. We'll reuse some of the old potting mix. What do we got? There we go. Throw some in there, keep him in position. Probably haven't come up as far as what I originally planned, because this root, I wouldn't mind getting one and growing there. So I've probably come up an inch though, 2 or 3 centimeters. So yeah, we'll just put that back out on the bench, get it watered. Any of those roots that are above the ground will start to harden off, and yeah, in time we'll lift it up and go again and again, and eventually you'll get the rock all the way out, like this one here. So yeah, it's pretty simple, and the figs are very, very forgiving. Which is probably why they're seen as a beginner tree, I guess. And to some degree, I suppose they are a beginner tree, but you can do so much with them, so there's nothing wrong with having to play with figs and trying different designs. And you know, you can work on your techniques with something that's tough, and then you can try something else. I've got a casuarina here that I'm going to also try and do a root over rock style with. And I've got this pretty cool little rock here. I'm going to try and sort of get it growing on the rock like that. But yeah, I don't know how well the casuarina will handle that, but that's something I'm working off on the side. Alright, so that's how easy it is to create a root over rock using a ficus. You can also create root over any object, really. There's all sorts of cool things that I've seen pictures of. So if you've got any cool things that you like to grow your bonsai over in the root over style, just put them in the comments and let me know. If you've got any questions, you can do the same. Yeah, so have a go at these yourself, and I'll catch you on the next one.